Hello and welcome to the 10th video that I'll be posting in my Unity platformer series, and in today's video I'll be discussing about how to change the player's looks to follow with the player's keys. So when we play right now, our player is always facing to the right. And when we even go left, the player doesn't even look left. The player is constantly looking at the right, and we want to fix that. Okay? So the way we can fix that is by actually messing around with this component right here, the transform component in our inspector. And if we change the scale, actually, the scale of a Y, we can see that it stretches the player and it flips the player. So if we actually play with the X scale, then we can actually see that it can be stretched, or when reversed, can flip the player's perspective. So originally it's 1, and if we just flip it to -1, then it changes its perspective. And that's what we want here. That's what we're going to do with our code, and we're going to implement some line of code in order to do that. So right now, go to your scripts folder and click on your player controller script. So what we're going to do instantly is go to our player movement here, and we don't need to actually make a new method, unlike our jump method where we have to make one. Where in our player movement we don't need to add any because the code is right over here. These are the two lines of code that when we click A, it goes to the left, when we click D, it goes to the right. Same as when we click on the left arrow, it goes left, and if we click our right arrow, it goes to the right. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually edit some of these code by going underneath one of this code and adding a code with the keyword transform. Reason why we want to use a transform code is because when we go to our player, we can see that the tool or inspector component that's actually going to be edited is our transform, and specifically scale. So we're gonna go to transform and we're gonna type in the scale, and there's a local scale. So type in local scale, and then like our velocity in our jump method, we will create a new vector2. So local scale equal to new vector 2 brackets, and then it's gonna ask us for two options, brackets, or when you click the down button, down arrow, you can see that there's a float x and float y. So we're gonna type in our float x, which is when it goes to the left, which is -1 for our x, right? So because we're gonna change the scale to -1. And then our y, we don't want to change the y to 0 because it'll disappear, and if we change to -1, it'll get flipped, and we just want it to be 1 and semicolon. And this will also be used for moving to the right. However, the main difference is it's not going to be -1, it's going to be 1 because we want it to look to the right. Am I right? Now if we click play, the player is now going to look left and right, as you can see. Now it goes left and right, which is what we want. However, I do not want the value in our inspector, in our program here, to be just digits. I want this to be a variable so that we can easily edit this sometimes. So we can go to the top here, and in our variables here, we can make it a private int. Okay, a private int, and we're gonna call this private int rotation left. Okay, and I'm gonna add the big letters here, rotation left, and then we're gonna say equals to what's gonna be our rotation left, and that is -1. Okay, and private int rotation right, it's gonna be 1 and semicolon, as you know, always end with a semicolon. And now if we go back down here, and instead of -1, we can type in our rotation. Since we are going to left, we're going to go rotation left. Okay. And then in our 1, we can type in our rotation right. Now, by doing so, anytime we want to actually change -1, our rotation to, let's just say, -2, so we can scale it to be more wider, as you can see. Then we can just simply edit these values. However, I'm sticking with -1 and 1. And if we click play now, there should be no difference. However, our code is now more organized and we can actually know more. Okay. And then we are basically done with this. That's it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are now understand more about Unity programming, and I'll see you in the next video.